All right.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to another weekly reject show.
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
it's kind of it's special to me. I don't know about you guys or anybody out there, but it's a pretty special day in the Trek world, and it's what we call First Contact Day because on
Yes.
this date, many 40 years from now, actually, today marks 40 years that in the future we will make contact with the Romulans or hopefully
Uh,
some
the
alien species.
Vulcans.
Isn't it the
Excuse
Vulcans?
me.
Yeah, it's the Vulcans.
Yeah.
Wow, sorry, a slip. The Vulcans, thank you. But hopefully in the future we will make some contact. I don't think we're ready, but
Oh, hell no.
Oh, we're definitely not ready. We would be way more the day Earth stood still
yeah.
scenario.
I was leaning more towards Mad Max, but uh,
Well, I meant if an alien showed up and wanted to make
Mad
contact with
Max
us.
slash Mars Attacks.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so we're here and we're gonna cover First Contact, Star Trek First Contact, for First Contact Day, and because this month we have Earth Day coming up, we decided to do Wally along with that to kind of do cover two themes uh, that are happening this month. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
Both great sci-fi movies.
I would definitely call it the best of the Next Generation movies.
Oh, without a doubt. Hands down. This was actually my first Star Trek movie to see in the theaters.
Really?
Yeah.
wow, mine was Undiscovered Country, and then I miss Generations
You're
in
not missing
theater.
much.
Well, no, well, to me it was a big deal, but I missed Generations, but then I caught First Contact and then all of them through Nemesis after that. But
See, I saw The Voyage Home in theaters. That was the first Star Trek movie I saw, and it got me into Trek. And
nice.
then all the other Trek movies I saw on HBO. But I did see Generations in the theaters, which is why I kind of said you weren't missing much because the the way they did the way they did everybody, it just felt so mean spirited, like killing off Picard's entire family off screen.
It was an odd transition,
Yeah.
and it did feel like a big two-parter episode that was just higher stakes. I don't know. It was kind of weird. I still
Honestly,
enjoy it. I mean, for
I
what it is, even after all these years, it's still kind of hard to believe they. And when you said they did people dirty, I do agree they did. I believe they did Kirk pretty dirty in that film.
well, it's the trope namer for dropped a bridge on him.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's
and
not bad. There's worse movies in the franchise.
oh yeah, but also the whole. It's like it ends with the Enterprise D destroyed. We finally get to see it on the big screen, and it's it's like it. The Duras sisters just get a couple of lucky shots in, and the whole ship's destroyed. But also, it was kind of neat seeing um, the Enterprise crew in like the different Starfleet uniforms. My cat decided he wanted to be a special guest on the show.
That's
So
okay.
so yeah.
He's
Um,
got takes.
so funny thing about that, they were originally going to update the Starfleet uniforms for Star Trek Generations. It was going to be closer to what they had on lower decks, but the I don't, the seamsters couldn't get the uniforms to work just right, so they just had everybody, put on the uniforms from Deep Space Nine,
Mm.
which is why a lot of them didn't. It looked like they didn't quite fit just right.
Mm.
Right, and they kind of did that with when the Dominion War started up in DS9. They
Oh
started
yeah,
like movie. They started borrowing the uniforms from First Contact
yeah.
and kind of making that the standardized uniform. I guess during their wartime period, and then kind of with the Picard series, we're kind of going back to what we saw in TNG and early DS9 and Voyager with the colors and stuff like that. I guess.
Well,
First Contact. Let's see. Uh, I guess since we're talking about First Contact, we want to hit that first before Wally.
oh yeah. Since we're already talking Star Trek,
Well, I remember there's a friend of mine that at the time that this came out, um, uh, what was the Looney Tunes movie with
Looney Tunes
Space
back.
Jams?
Oh, okay,
Space
yes.
Jam? So his mom, so he's like, we're gonna go see. It was for his birthday, and he'd been waiting to see Space Jam. All right, so I'm like, okay, we're gonna go see Space Jam. Well, I knew First Contact was out, and I hadn't seen it yet. So we get to the theater, and this is in Nacogdoches. This is the Nacogdoches Theater.
It probably looks the same from when it did in 1996.
It looked the same, except without the dollar theater. It used to have. If you guys didn't know, Nacogdoches had a dollar theater.
I
That was
vaguely
the
remember
same-
the Dollar Theater.
It was the same shopping center, and I remember seeing Aliens, Braveheart, and Judge Dredd at that dollar theater back in the day. But anyway, so where was I?
You went to the Nacogdoches Theater. Your friend wanted to see Space Jam.
So I'm like, man, I got to go to the bathroom. So I get to go to the bathroom, and I'm walking by, and I hear like all the phaser fire and all the exciting music, and I'm like, okay, I got to step in and see this. And it's like one of the big Borg action scenes. But I was good. I was a good friend. I went back and finished Space Jam as badly as I wanted to see First Contact. But I always remember that. Every time I go to that theater, I just like, man, I remember this is where I made first contact with First Contact.
I think the church that I was following, somebody rented a copy, and I got to see it then, and we all kind of joked that Data had a better handle on colorful metaphors than Spock ever did.
Hey guys, the Space Jam website's still up.
Really?
Yeah.
See, funny thing is, I apparently yesterday was Warner Brothers' 100th anniversary. Like, it was the 100th anniversary of the founding of the studio, and I just decided to, get on their website, see what was, see what was there, and it feels kind of weird that they have Looney Tunes, they have DC Comics, and then it's just general Warner Brothers animation, which is Tom and Jerry and Scooby Doo, both of whom were originally part of the Hanna-Barbera library.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
But yeah, nothing really major as of yet.
But I think what makes this movie work is they kind of do basically what the Wrath of Khan approach is. They pick a villain from the TV show that makes it interesting. Of course, when I watched this in 1996, I had seen all the movies up to this point, and I had seen some episodes of The Next Generation, but I wasn't like an expert. But I think this movie does a good job of like you didn't have to watch the show to get the plot. And I think they throw the Alfre Woodard character into the movie to kind of be like the exposition for non Star Trek fans.
Right.
Yeah, I kind of get that, but also it's kind of almost at the. I would dare say that. Okay, First Contact came out for the 30th anniversary of Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at this point, even people who never watched a Star Trek episode knows how Star Trek works. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, these are people going out into space, going into different planets. Sometimes they time travel.
So what you're saying is you're on some sort of starship on some sort of
Star
space.
Trek.
Yep. What do you guys think of the theory that Cockrum is basically a fictionalized version of Gene Roddenberry?
I
can
said the same thing to Lindsay last night when we were rewatching it. I said, you know what? That right there is the because he was talking about Zephyr Cochrane was talking to Geordi about how
It makes him uncomfortable to be idolized. He's like, I'm just a human person, and I'm definitely not like you should build a statue.
yeah, like I'm just an ordinary guy, and I think you've just taken me out of context and blown me up into this hero. And I think that's what people did with Gene Roddenberry, because when Gene Roddenberry did this, he did it for money. He did it to get a start in Hollywood or to get a show launched to make him money.
Yeah.
Now, as Star Trek grew and actually became something and meant something to people, is when they started transforming him into what they called the Great Bird of the Galaxy, and where he was just this great Yoda-like figure, or this Ben Kenobi-like figure almost, where he always intended for it to be this deep,
Grand thing.
this grand vision, when in reality, I mean, it was just a lot of luck. It was just things happening at the right time and the way they did. And
Didn't Star Trek originally was going to be a Western show, and then they changed it to a science fiction show?
I don't know about Western, but he did pitch it as Wagon Train in Space.
yeah,
Okay.
it was metaphorically a Western in space. And again, I mean, Gene Roddenberry was probably not the greatest human being out there. I mean, he cheated on his wife, and I mean, there's lots of things
Oh,
that
yeah.
we could go into about him not being a great human being. But I really think that over time and as the fandom grew, people morphed him into this godlike being, that. So yeah, I totally think that Zephyr Cochrane is a metaphor for Gene Roddenberry. Straight up.
I buy into that too. And in case y'all haven't had a chance to watch it, look up this YouTuber called Jessie Gender. She's a transgender.
Yeah, we watched her.
Okay, yeah. Have you seen her Sex and Star Trek video? Like, she goes into exquisite detail on, it's like basically what was Gene Roddenberry's motivations. Mostly just revolved around getting laid.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I mean, you could put him. Well, it's kind of like, oh well, he was responsible for the first the first interracial kiss on television. No, he was not 100% responsible for that. You can thank the writers and the people behind the scenes who helped push for that. And yeah, he probably did have some sort of say so in that and help push for that. But you know,
Well, he did.
a lot of the groundbreaking things that went on in this series is, DC Fontana and a lot of the writers that were
Mm-hmm.
writers at the time.
Agreed.
And
And
speaking of next gen, wasn't he? Didn't he not want Patrick Stewart as Picard because he's like, there's no baldness in the future.
well, I've heard something like that, but
I think there was some resistance there. Uh,
And
with
I,
that at
and did
first.
and didn't they even try to test him with a wig? And they were like, he just looks stupid with that wig on or something.
Yeah,
yeah, there is like there's a lot of test photos of all of the cast just you know in these experimental hairstyles, and yeah, a lot of them did not work. Like there's one with Jordy with a Jerry curl.
Oh God.
Yeah,
I
but
saw that. Yeah, I remember that.
um, as also as far as Gene Roddenberry as a figure in his and his parallels to Zephyr Cochrane in First Contact, yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, he was a very complex figure. Um, he was, yeah, definitely a womanizer, but at the same time, he was kind of pretty progressive because he
Yeah.
fought to get Nichelle Nichols cast in the show. Partly because he was boning her.
Well, I mean, all things aside about Gene Roddenberry as a human being, what he did for television, whether it was wholly him or more likely a combination of creative people, not just the writers, but casting directors, but not just Nichelle Nichols, but you got George Takei piloting the ship. So you have an African
Yeah,
American woman and an Asian American as leads on a television series in the 1960s.
yep, and um, yeah, yeah, like I said, complicated human being. He was progressive in a lot of ways, but at the same time, he was also a little bit regressive. So you just gotta take the man with
The real
maybe
person.
maybe a little bit more than a grain of salt. Maybe just kind of it's like go nuts with the salt shaker on that one.
No.
And I mean, and Next Gen just carried on like the progressiveness of like casting and who's on a TV show and who's not. And
Oh yeah, well, um, really, what was I was thinking more with Deep Space Nine. They had the first girl-on-girl kiss on television.
oh yeah, I mean, it just keeps going further and further with each series.
Yeah, and with Alexander Siddig with I want to say a Arab American in say
Mm-hmm.
in a prominent role, which there
Right.
were there weren't a lot of roles for those kind of people back then. Um, and also, Deep Space Nine was going on at the same time that First Contact came out. Like there's uh, they did time travel in First Contact, but their episode was when the crew went back in time to the Trouble with Tribbles episode, and they gave a slight mention of, oh yeah, they built a whole new Enterprise now. uh, So Worf got to time travel twice. First with the Enterprise after the whole Borg invasion. Well, not quite invasion, but the battle with the Borg over Earth. I believe they call it the Battle of Sector 001. And he got to go back to the original series where he's like, wait a minute, are those Klingons? They said, we don't like to talk about it.
Oh, they did. They did. Didn't they go back? Was Worf? No, he may not have been with them. Where they went back?
No,
in
he
time.
was.
Well, no, I'm talking about the in the TNG. I can't remember which season, but it has Guinan and Mark Twain. Remember, they find a piece of data
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
that was hidden or something like that, and in an archaeological dig, and they end up going back in time, and it was like a big something to do with aliens, and
Yeah. Yeah, and apparently Guinan was friends with Mark Twain, because why not?
Yeah, why not?
Right. So
And
if he, I can't remember if he was in a significant part of that episode, but if he is, that would have made it 3 times.
isn't there an episode of Enterprise where the Vulcan on the ship tells Archer and the other guy the Vulcans actually came to Earth before first contact, but they just blended into Earth society and we're just hanging out?
I haven't
Yes.
I haven't watched Enterprise all that much, but I do have the episode where it's like they encounter a Borg. It's like apparently there was like a survivor from First Contact, and they were mentioning how Zephyr Cochrane was talking about them, and it was dismissed because everybody said that Zephyr Cochrane was a known drunk.
Uh, well,
Also,
go ahead.
also I kind of want to say they kind of ramped up the violence at the time because this first
Oh, for sure.
yeah, because this movie was Star Trek's first PG-13.
Also, did they tell Patrick Stewart, we're going to jack you up for this movie, even though you're like 56, we want you jacked because you're going to be an action hero in this movie. We're going to have you with the vest on with no sleeves, and you're going to be kicked.
He was actually already he was actually already really fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he ran, he would do like triathlons and marathons and stuff like that, and he was also race Jaguars.
Really, I did not know about the Jaguar racing, but it does stand to reason that he was pretty fit. I mean,
He was
the
on
man
he was on the Paramount volleyball team apparently for a while.
Paramount had a volleyball team.
I guess so. I dug
Was
out
Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer part of it?
Tom Cruise.
All getting oiled up. But
Yeah.
I like that they explore kind of Picard's PTSD with the Borg, and because I think a lot of times Picard's thought of as like this saintly, moral, always does the right thing type of person for the most part, even though he has bits of recklessness in his past. But I mean, you see him really like get like his prejudice in this movie, like where he just wants to obliterate all the Borg.
Yeah, and actually, and I just wanted to throw out that didn't come from nowhere. Like, of course, we saw the best of both worlds, but there have been other episodes where Picard has dealt with that kind of PTSD. Like the episode right after that is called Family, where Picard visits his brother and meets his nephew, and he was seriously considering resigning from Starfleet at that time.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then there are the episodes with Hugh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Picard was dealing with a lot of trauma from there.
Right. And
Um,
then he has to deal with the repercussions of, well, okay, the first exam, a really good example is the pilot episode of DS9, where
Oh man, yeah.
he's responsible for Cisco's wife's death. Yeah,
yeah.
the car. Okay, sorry. Uh, yeah, okay, this is a spoiler, and I won't go into it, but he's even dealing with the repercussions of that in the newest season of Picard.
Mm-hmm.
It comes up because lots of people were affected by that.
See,
Yeah.
and this is the one thing. This is one of my one complaint about First Contact because they were dealing with the Borg, and first of all, yeah, there's Picard's trauma, but there was also that Borg faction, that individualistic Borg faction from that two-parter Descent.
Now what? Okay, wasn't Lord involved with that?
Huh? Yeah,
What?
Lore was involved. Yeah,
Yes,
because the Borg got a sense of community, and Lore just saw a opportunity and took over.
right. I remember that.
Yeah, and they could have done a lot more than what they did, and I feel like it was a major missed opportunity. Like we could see Hugh again, and or see what happened to that faction of Borg that have, you know, regained a sense of individuality. But instead, we get zombie apocalypse on the Enterprise E.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we get a brief second of Adam Scott on whatever ship Worf was on before he got on the Enterprise.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh, baby.
baby Adam Scott.
Yeah, and
not only not only that, it's like, yeah, Damien Dark was a
yeah,
helmsman on the Enterprise.
yep. Speaking
Neil
of, what is his name?
Neil
Neil.
Neil McCullough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of Worf, did you guys know Michael Dorn permanently has a deeper voice from playing Worf for like 11 or 12 seasons of television?
Really?
Like it permanently deepened his voice playing Worf for that long.
Wow.
I just thought he was, a natural. He was just naturally baritone.
Well, I think he had a deep voice, but I think playing Worf made it even deeper.
Did you guys know he flies jets?
That I didn't know.
Okay, are all these people just awesome in real life? Like Patrick Stewart apparently is racing Jaguars and playing volleyball and
He flies jets. He actually owns a fighter jet, in his per contract, he's not allowed to fly during filming seasons in case of something happening. But during off season, that's what he does. He's a pilot. He flies for fun.
Very nice.
Yes. You know what you learn? I was a subscriber or a collector of Star Trek the magazine for the longest time. That
Uh,
went from I think it was from like 99 to like maybe 2003. But in the they would always have news and stuff like updates with what was going on with all the characters and the actors and stuff, and there was an article where he was talking about him flying jets and
did they have pictures of that?
yeah, there's pictures of it, and there's a matter of fact, you can pull it up on YouTube. There's some things with him on it with his about his him flying jets and whatnot.
I'll have to look that up because it would be right up there with that one Reading Rainbow episode where LeVar Burton took everybody on this set of Star Trek TNG.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great episode. I remember that.
Yeah. Um, so I'm okay. So we talked about the Roddenberry, Zephyr Cochrane. But actually, let's talk about Jamie Cromwell he
He's
because he's I wouldn't call him an MVP, but he is definitely one of the stronger parts of not only that movie, but he's guest starred in a lot of Trek.
yes, he's played an alien. He was
But has he played a man on Star Trek who taped himself to the counter of Starbucks because they charge more for vegan milk?
he's super glued his hand to that counter.
Oh,
Yeah, James Cromwell did that in real life.
wow.
He's like a really prominent figure in with the PETA.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I'm not. Look, I get the mission of PETA, but I'm not 100% for PETA because they do a lot of questionable things. Have been caught
I've
with a lot of questionable things.
I've heard a lot of unsafe. You're better off giving your money to say the ASPC. What the fuck? Sorry. Yeah, you're better off giving your money to the ASPCA.
Yeah, but he's pretty radical, and I mean radical in a good way. Good for him. Like he's vegan and he wants to like protect animals and stuff like that. But um, hopefully he's not doing the questionable things that the PETA has been caught doing.
More questionable.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I think he should.
actually, I'm also kind of respecting that he does both movies and television because he was in a lot of really good movies at the time. L.A. Confidential was one of them,
Yeah.
and and then he became a cast member of 6 Feet Under.
I mean, a lot of actors are doing that now because they say that's where the actual interesting character work is in television now because we don't live well, hopefully we might get back to it, but right now for the most part there's no mid-budget movie star movies like there used to be.
Right.
Yeah, I agree, and a lot of those people did end up going uh, into television, and well, stuff like Netflix and HBO, they don't quite have the same kind of constraints that network TV uh, tends to have.
And apparently Zephram likes the 1960s rock and roll music.
Hey,
Yep.
you know what? As a classic rock aficionado, that still gets me every time. He's like, wait, I forgot something. Or like, should we abort? And he goes, no, hang on, wait, here it is. And he
And
pops it in, and then it's a magic carpet ride. I freaking love that. That's just great.
yeah, the
Steppenwolf.
Yeah,
very.
that's like something I would do. I'm like, no, wait, I forgot something. Yes, here it is. It's a song. You
Uh,
know, I feel like I have a song for every occasion, just about. And the
I
fact that
have
he
dinner
has one
now,
for lunch.
Yay! Dinner.
but but yeah, that was definitely one of the best parts, and just Riker just listening and kind of just taking. He says, "You mind turning that down a little?"
He also enjoyed Deanna getting drunk and not being able to hold her liquor.
Very much so. Actually, that was another missed opportunity because, since betazoids are telepathic, what would happen if they get drunk and lost their inhibitions and started broadcasting their thoughts into, like, to anybody within a, 50-mile radius?
Also broadcasting the other people's thoughts they hear.
Hmm. But they always did. They never did give Deanna Troy uh, much of a um, good any good development. Uh, I should I should say. But also Jonathan Frakes' directing style. He was pretty concise with how he filmed his scenes. The point that everyone called him two takes Frakes.
Yeah, is this his feature film directorial debut? I know he had
Yeah,
directed several episodes of TNG, but yeah, this was his.
That's what he's doing now is a lot of TNG, and I mean he's done
that's.
a lot of TV, but he's doing uh, and he did let's see, he did Clock Stoppers for Nickelodeon, I
I
think.
still want to see that movie because
Yeah, I
uh,
never saw that.
it was well, the plot seems very much like an old DuckTales episode where Gyro finds a time stopper
Huh,
and the Beagle Boys steal it, but they break it and they end up going back in time.
nice.
But I just want to see how that how the movie plays out. Of course, it's kind of fallen into obscurity, probably because it's not very good. But um, yeah, it's still on my list. Also, he
I know he
directed a
did
lot of.
Roswell too, right? Wasn't he didn't he like help create that or was a prominent director on that?
I'm not sure. I never watched Roswell. The one I do know is he directed a lot of episodes of Leverage. Now, if you have not seen Leverage,
What are you doing with your life?
yeah,
Yeah, I don't
what
think
you need to see Leverage. It's it's part Ocean's 11, part it's Ocean's 11 meets Robin Hood.
okay.
Yeah,
It's very cathartic.
G said it's very cathartic because all the villains on the show are loosely based on basically the villains of real life.
Okay. Like
Yeah.
someone Elon Musk.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Um, they go after Walmart. They go after. Oh man, I can't even remember. But um, they they recently rebooted it, so um, I think it's on Amazon. So if you have Amazon, give that a shot. And Jonathan Frakes has directed many episodes from that show. Yes, babe.
Just letting you know there's plenty more of everything except the schnitzel.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
looks like he directed about 5 episodes of Roswell, but he's pretty much directed episodes in every Trek series since Next Gen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did some Deep Space Nine. He did some Voyager. Doesn't look like he did Enterprise. That's the only one he didn't direct.
Well, he did guest star on that one.
But
right.
he's directed episodes of Discovery. He's even directed episodes of the Orville, Picard, and looks like he's going to be directing an episode of Strange New Worlds.
Nice.
I need
Yeah.
to start Strange New Worlds because they actually.
Oh, you totally should. Dude,
Yeah.
that is probably that and this season of Picard are the most Trek I have seen so far. Like it'll take you back. It'll make you feels like uh it's new, but it takes you to familiar territory, and I personally think you'll really like it, or I hope you do. Like, I get really excited when people are like, "Oh, I haven't seen it," and I'm like, "Dude, you totally need to watch it."
Oh, I believe it. And one of my friends said, just skip seasons 1 and 2 of Picard. Just go into season 3.
Okay, well, I don't know. I don't know if I go that far because I enjoyed them.
Yeah.
They weren't what I was expecting them to be. They were different, but I still enjoyed them. Like they still had their benefits. But I will say, season 3 is like the continuation of TNG. It's what we needed.
Yeah,
It's what we needed, and I think it's the perfect way to, if they're going to end it and wrap it up, it is the perfect way to do it. And not only that, but I think we're going to get a legacy show out of it with all of the legacy characters that they're introducing.
I would
Also,
be surprised.
didn't it take three seasons for TNG to find its footing too?
What's that now?
Didn't it take 3 seasons for Next Gen to find its footing, like to get really good?
Yeah, I'd say about 2 to 3. Like the first one was meh. It has its qualities. I know it's setting everything up. They're still. I mean, I'll still watch them. Season 2 had some great stuff in it. Like it's still getting its footing, but yeah, but by season 3, I think they know what they're about, and you know, they're like, hang on, nerds.
So have we said everything we wanted to say about First Contact?
I don't have anything else to say other than it is the best next gen movie, and I think it still holds up. I think it's a really good Star Trek movie, and I think it rules.
Yeah, same here. I think it holds up. I like to revisit it and watch it. It's a great combo of Star Trek and action movie, kind of like Wrath of Khan was. Um,
Definitely a better homage to Wrath of Khan than Nemesis.
For sure. Even has a Moby Dick reference in First
yeah,
Contact.
yeah.
Yeah,
And Cody, you were spot on about it being um. Oh, I forgot where I was going. I'm sorry. Lindsay came into the room. No, it's okay. That was my fault. Sorry. I
Yeah,
thought you were.
you have a Wally moment. You were like, oh.
Yeah, I thought. Well, I thought she was going to ask me about something, and I was like, no, I totally lost it. My bad.
Oh,
Well,
well, we get a Voyager cameo of Robert Picardo in the movie.
Oh, I love that scene with Doctor
yes.
Crusher saying, "Oh God, I swore I'd never use one of these."
And did you guys know that there was going to be there was a deleted scene with Janeway,
Oh, no, I didn't know that. That would have been cool.
or was that Nemesis? It was one of them. It may have been Nemesis.
They all
And
blur after you watch them.
correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the guy in the holodeck that's like the maitre d' when they go to like that fake PI series Picard likes to cosplay as? Isn't that guy the actor that plays Neelix on
That is
Voyager?
that is
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
And he's a dork.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I like this movie. I think it's fun. I mean, it's more Trek. That's all I can say. It's Star Trek. I love it. I don't care. There's it's gonna have its ups and downs, and
Star Trek is family. We love them even with their flaws.
yeah, even the least lovable Trek, I'll still watch it.
Horrible uncle.
It's just a shame that the other next gen movies weren't anywhere remotely to the level this movie was.
Yeah, because I know that what was the one after that?
Insurrection.
Insurrection felt like an episode. It felt like a 2-part episode straight up.
It did, and I was gonna say this. Insurrection is not as bad as people think it is. It's just what we got instead of what we wanted. What we wanted was to see the Enterprise fighting the Dominion War.
Right.
And what we got was, basically an extended Next Gen episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not a bad movie. It's just like another episode. It's like that was an excuse for them to keep him out of the debate board.
Don't they make a crack about Picard's actions in Insurrection in the latest season of Picard?
I think they do. I think
I
I
think
heard it.
there's like a throwaway joke about you risk something to get laid or something.
Yeah, to get some Baku tail or something like that. And I'm like, oh no, he didn't. I was like, holy crap.
I mean, to be fair, how much did Kirk risk to get laid?
Right.
Set the standard.
All of it. He risked all of it.
Well, all right. Well, let's segue over into what is by my favorite Pixar, and that is
Well, I don't know if it's my personal favorite Pixar movie, but I would arguably say this is Pixar's best movie. It's just absolutely gorgeous looking. It's a masterpiece of animation, of sci-fi. It's a very sweet, touching story. And it's amazing how much you care for a little robot who barely talks because there's like hardly any dialogue in what the first 30, 45 minutes of this movie.
Oh yeah.
That's part
Um,
about it.
this
yeah,
is this is that this is right in that period where Pixar could do no wrong.
well that's what I think is so clever about it is again they can carry the whole first half of a movie with no dialogue, and then when you get into the second half, it's a very clever cautionary tale for adults. Not only adults get will understand, but kids can still
Wrap their heads around.
wrap their heads around it.
Oh
It's never
yeah.
bothered Disney to do that. They are one of the by and large companies, right?
Yeah,
They're one of the
Right.
conglomerates.
What
So
wait for Disney to greenlight a movie that's about, well, this giant corporation destroyed the planet.
and then they're like, "What are you gonna do about it? We're Disney.
Yeah,
We're
that's
gonna
like
find
it.
all these little Wally robots."
By and large, it's basically if Disney and Walmart merged, they would be
Pretty much.
they would be by and large because Walmart. Did you know that you can buy a coffin on Walmart.com?
I did not know that. I don't
And
think.
as a
Oh my.
couple of years ago,
I honestly think my life would have been richer without knowing that.
well,
Well,
I'm just
this is way before the day that Walmart.com started hosting third-party vendors the way Amazon does. Like this was something Walmart planned and had to sell to you from a Walmart warehouse, like way before a bunch of other people jumped on
yeah.
to sell their stuff through Walmart. Walmart was ready
Okay.
from birth to death. Walmart was like, "You're gonna shop here, because where else are you gonna go?"
They even dabbled in, and I think they are thinking about dabbling in cars.
Oh Jesus!
Oh, Lord.
God.
So if they do, they will literally have the market.
Cheap enough to get you back and forth to your job at Walmart for like $5, and then he craps out.
Well, they
Yep.
already have banks, they have restaurants, and then they have they.
That was their thing, the one-stop
They have
shop.
eye
You can get your
doctors.
tires changed. You can.
They are
Go to the-
biologists.
You can go to the doctor.
Exactly.
Get your eyes checked.
Watch them put movie theaters in there next.
I don't know that I'd ever go to a Walmart movie theater. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a feeling they'll only play the Pure Flix movies
They
Oh,
or
already.
whatever,
Pure Flix. Yeah.
or whatever that company's called that makes those faith-based
That's
films.
no, that's one of them. That's one of them.
No, but
Yeah.
they already have movie theaters because they have the income tax sale on TVs, and everybody stands there and watches them like right at the front of the
Yeah.
store before they go shopping.
Okay, here's a little something I used to right after Star Wars Episode 2 came out on DVD, and they would play them. They would play them in the DVD players on their TVs. Whenever I saw it, I almost always skipped to the Yoda fight scene.
Nice.
Speaking of that, what do you guys think of the sci-fi references we get? Because we get a nod to, of course, 2001 in
Of
this movie with Otto being basically Hal, and
yeah,
they play that opening scene music when the captain decides to walk.
Right.
yes.
Oh my gosh.
The actually the name of the piece is called Also Sprach Zarathustra by Richard Strauss.
Yes.
Oh. And then we get a sci-fi legend herself, Sigourney Weaver's the voice of the computer.
Oh, funny thing is when she actually started recording for the role, the director basically said, "Your mother now."
Oh my
What?
god.
Yeah, because they say something about auto destruct or something? Like there is an alien reference or something in there.
Well, I think there's like a countdown to when the airlock opened and Wally gets sucked out into space, but it
That's
doesn't really
right.
do anything to him because he's a robot and doesn't have to
Right.
breathe.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when he jumps on the ship when Eve leaves the ship comes back to get her. I'm like, it's a good thing he doesn't need oxygen.
Right.
Yeah,
A little guy with his one track mind.
more or less. But also, one of the things that um, I um, one of the things that I like to notice in that movie is just how they went from putting real people in there, how they evolved into the giant babies that we see on the ship.
Yeah, how the bone density loss progression.
Uh huh.
I feel like that's
Yeah.
happening to me on Earth though. I don't think that's space specific anymore.
Well, after rewatching this, do you think that was what was the ship robot's name? That didn't want to.
Otto.
Otto.
He
Cute.
was
Yes.
autopilot.
Otto. Thank you. Do you think that was Otto's plan all along? Is to keep him
Keep him in space till that thing falls
incapacitated to
apart.
where they couldn't return, or they wouldn't think about it or have the energy to return?
Well, if you notice what happened when they like show the clips is, Fred Willard, I guess, who's both the president and the CEO of whatever the company's called,
By and
Bye.
large.
by and large, is that like I guess they had designed was supposed to be a 5 year. They were supposed to be off in space for 5 years,
Yeah,
while the Wallies cleaned up Earth, and I guess that wasn't enough, and so they set everything to autopilot.
yeah. They thought that the toxicity levels were too basically got too bad, and Earth would never be inhabitable again.
Mm-hmm. Which is this the only Pixar movie that uses scenes of live action too? Because that was really well done, even though it's just basically scenes of Fred Willard talking to a screen.
Yeah.
Well, there are also there's some other clips of live action people, but yeah, as far as I remember, this is the only Pixar movie that
movie. Yeah, it's
mixes
just the
in live action and CGI animation.
movie that Wally watches.
It's so pretty.
Hello, Dolly.
Hello,
Yeah.
Dolly. That's live action.
Yeah, it's the only VHS he's got. And I didn't know that you could connect your VCR to your iPod.
I don't know what it was. As soon as I saw that trailer, I was at the comic book shop and I was like, "Oh man, I gotta see that." People were coming in talking about Dark Knight and all this other movie. I was like, "Wally, man,
Wally,
I want to see
cute.
Wally." Yeah.
It's such a sensory pleasure. It's just because there's almost no dialogue for most of the movie.
Maybe that's what it is.
It's all little
That's what's
beeps and boops and ambient sounds and like warp core noises, the brown noise that are good for your brain anyways. It's wonderful.
Yeah. All right. And it also, I would say it's a very big strength of their storytelling skills that they can do that without need for dialogue. Of course, they've been perfecting that a lot already in their shorts.
Mm-hmm.
Tapes.
Yeah, so they just took it to a feature-length form, which, if I remember right, when they were introducing this movie as a trailer, there were, I think it's Andrew Stanton as the director talking,
Uh huh.
and talked about the group of the guys that's helped started Pixar, and they talked about that they had 5 projects they were trying to create, and it was Toy Story, A Bug's Life, Monsters Incorporated, Finding Nemo, and this movie.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, I vaguely remember that.
Out of all of those, imagine being the guy who was like, okay, well, I'll be the fifth guy. Well, I'll
Well,
write for my movie, you know.
it's the same director as Finding Nemo, Andrew Stanton.
Okay, well, I'd still be like, man, Wally. Again, out of all, Wally just stands out to me. Like again, it's my favorite. I'm biased, I know, but
Disney does good character-driven movies. The
Yeah,
character.
actually, I kind of slept on his first movie, Finding Nemo, because I, um, I, I thought it was just gonna be uh, the kid gets kidnapped, and all we'll see is the other fish getting into shenanigans. We do that, but we also did get scenes with Nemo. That's what I really loved about it, and Andrew Stanton just kind of stepped up his game for this one.
Oh, for sure. This is a master class. Like I said, it's a master class in animation and science fiction. Being that cautionary tale, that's just classic sci-fi right there. That's what sci-fi does.
Well, that's kind of funny that you mentioned that because they said that they weren't trying. Uh, this is what they're saying in public. They weren't trying to get any kind of overt message out. They used you know, um, they used the whole trashy Earth as a storytelling device, which I can believe it. He says you have a janitorial robot. Why is he a janitor? Well, because Earth is all is all messed up. That's why is Earth all messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They may say that, but they have to acknowledge that a little bit that they're saying a lot of things in this movie, not just about the environment, but also corporations and the effects it has on our environment. And if we're talking about janitor robots, that little guy Mo, he needs a raise because he was working overtime to get that ship clean because Wally got on there.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
and consumerism.
Yeah.
But it gives you the same warm and fuzzy feeling that everybody had about like lunar landing. So you're still like, oh, remember? Look, this is what happened after we trashed the place. And you still like thinking about this movie and watching this movie is still, it's not an existential crisis, except a little bit.
That's for sure saying something about consumerism. Enjoy everything in this giant cup.
oh
Always
yeah,
constantly be looking at a screen. Like, the people don't even know there are things on the ship because they're always looking at that monitor. Oh, we have
yeah,
a pool?
Yeah, and
There's
yeah.
they move to adulthood in the same environment. It's not like it's that big.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there's another subtle thing that you don't really notice. If there's a list of all the captains, and
Mm-hmm.
their tenure, and some of those tenures ended up lasting 100 or 200 years. So they have extended life, the human life expectancy somehow.
While also being overtly overweight, because if you notice, each captain is heavier than the last one, too.
Oh yeah, there is that. which is also another reason why um, they put in the epilogue when they did, because with they figured after the Axiom lands, it's like, and then everyone didn't know how to do anything and they died. The end. They
Yeah, because he's talking about like planting pizza seeds or something at some point.
Yeah.
Like he's like
I was,
totally not prepared.
I was like, I hope someone's able to explain to him you don't grow pizza.
Yeah, I hope the
yeah
database on the computer is a lot larger than what he's already observed.
yeah, but there yeah I do like how the epilogue where the people just um, slowly but surely start to rebuild civilization.
Mm-hmm.
All to Peter Gabriel.
Yep. And a weird thing at the end of the credits, if you stayed till the end, a very famous director is included in the special thanks. I don't know why he was included, but it's very weird. And that is David Fincher was listed as a special thanks.
Really?
Hmm. I don't know if they just like him as a director, or maybe he gave Andrew Stanton some advice on something. I don't know.
Maybe. I kind of want to look that up now.
I was just like, okay.
See, I thought you were talking about, the right at the end of the movie with the Pixar logo and
Oh, that's
Alexa.
cute.
Yeah,
With the Wally fixing the light bulb.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then right after that, you hear BNL.
Yeah.
Uh,
Alrighty then. Let's see what are some other things that we can gush about this movie.
I mean, the scene where they're dancing in space and he has the fire extinguisher might be my favorite scene.
Oh, define dancing.
Well, I guess they're more swirling around because earlier we find out Eve can't really dance like Wally's dancing.
Well, yeah,
well, where he's just infatuated with her the whole first part of the movie, and he like gets the buggies. He like trips the buggies, and
And they all smash him into
and
the
they all see the glass door, and he can't. He can't. They won't open it. They all crash into him. It's just all
yeah.
that really awkward. All the really awkward encounters.
It's,
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
he's a lonely guy. He's been on Earth for what?
At,
Roughly 700 years? I wonder how long of those years he's been the only Wally functioning.
yeah, I kind of.
I'm sorry, but the cockroach is one of the funniest things to me because the old saying is after the apocalypse, the only things that'll
Twinkies and cockroaches, they're both in the movie.
And he gives him a Twinkie that he uses as
Yeah.
his bed.
Oh God, that is.
But I think it's a clever movie and I love it. I think it's probably just I love the Wally character. It's himself or itself.
He's dirty, he's grimy, he's hopeful.
Yeah,
And
optimistic.
he's sweet. He's sweet. He's optimistic.
Yeah, he
And
has his own purpose. He makes little collections of things,
It's-
even if he's not sure what they are.
Yeah.
Like the Little Mermaid.
he's curious, and that's the thing. Like it's like you're right. He was probably there over 700 years, but what I love is he over 700 years he probably wasn't just non-thinking robot to something that had its own little personality.
Because he's had so
And-
much experience recorded, basically, to his
Mhm.
own hard drive.
And
Or whichever hard drive he harvested out of another Wally's dead body. That's a little sad, a little bleak, but that's why he's
yeah,
made it this far.
harvesting dead Wally parts, but the little bugger is going and
And still doing his thing.
yeah.
Not a well, yeah. He's resourceful. Let's just say that.
I,
He
Delightful is
is.
a very nice way to say it.
I had a Wally. I had a remote control Wally that I sadly I sold him, and but he was the coolest thing, and I could plug my iPod into him, and he would play music and stuff,
And dance,
and
and he had
dance.
little
Did
commands.
you play Hello Dolly on it?
Go.
No, I didn't. I should have, and
Missed opportunity, man.
I know it, but it was
Very expensive missed opportunity now. If you look up one of those, was like the hottest toy in 2008 for Christmas.
well. I got him because he was damaged. The box was damaged at Toys R Us, and I was like, hey, we go down. It was already on sale, and I was like, well, the box is pretty crushed. Will you work with me? And he goes, yeah, sure. So I got like another discount. So I got him
Don't
really
take
cheap.
Christopher shopping. He will barter in chain stores. You will be there forever.
Are you the dad from the Christmas Story?
Yes.
Hey, I have come into some of the greatest deals. But anyway, uh, uh so I get this cool Wally. But anyway, I sold him. I ended up selling him. But anyway, long story short, I freaking love Wally. Wally's cool.
He didn't have enough toys. Like the toys they did have were really cool, but
Yeah.
there wasn't
Yeah.
enough merchandising for once.
I can.
Maybe Disney scaled back on the merchandising because it was an environmental message, and they were like, "We don't want you guys to identify too hard with By and Large
Yeah.
if we put Wally on everything."
Yeah, yeah, there is that, but also it's. I think a lot of that has been scaled back since of course, I grew up in the '80s, and movies like TV shows that disguised as toy commercials. Those are pretty much the you know order of the day right there. They just happen to have really good writing.
Right.
But I think nowadays it's like a lot of that scaled back. We don't see as much cartoon based toys or vice versa in the stores. And
I just don't think the stories are as compelling for Squishmallow TV, from what I see from the constant targeted ads.
Yeah. I don't know
Fair.
what you would make a show out of that.
They've tried. I mean,
Yeah, they'll always keep trying.
Well, my thoughts on it are I freaking love Wally. I think it's one of the smarter um, Pixar films. Personally, being my favorite, and I'm not saying there's not any better films, Pixar movies out there. I'm just saying personally, it's my
Well,
favorite.
there's a reason it's the only one so far that has a Criterion collection.
Mm.
Ah, yeah.
I will say this: it was a really great movie in a year of great movies.
True.
Yeah,
True.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
okay, let me list off all of the other movies that came out that year: Quantum of Solace, Dark
Eh.
Knight,
Yep.
Kung Fu Panda,
Yep.
Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and that was one of the highest grossing movies of the year. Actually, I remember I started following the Annie Awards, and I was pissed that Kung Fu Panda beat out Wally for all of the awards. But
Really?
yeah,
Wow.
I was pissed because here was I thinking, dude, Wally's such a great movie, and I didn't see a lot of DreamWorks. They were getting past the whole Shrek merchandising thing. 'Cause after I did finally see Kung Fu Panda, it's like, oh yeah, okay, this is a good movie.
It is a good movie, but
Panda's
I
great.
think Wally is a masterpiece, whereas Kung Fu Panda is just a great animated action film.
Yeah,
Wally.
But
Okay.
Wally won the Oscar, so there you go.
it did. And also, oh wow, apparently 2008 was the film debut of Chadwick Boseman.
Huh.
Oh,
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I'm looking at Wikipedia right now.
And like Pixar fashion, it pulls at your heartstrings because they nearly kill Wally, what, 4 times in this movie?
Repeatedly.
Fair. And oh yeah, Slumdog Millionaire came out at that time
which,
too.
which won the Oscar for Best Picture. I think Wally should have been in that list of nominees for Best Picture, not just Best Animated Movie.
Yeah, I think that was the time when. I think after that was when they started upping the number of nominees again.
Yeah, it's because The Dark Knight didn't get nominated, but this is the year that people were like, there were 3 big movies that were financially successful, critically acclaimed, and people thought they had awards contention, which they all got some sort of nomination, but not Best Picture, and that was The Dark Knight, Wally, and Gran Torino.
Yeah.
Basically, Clint Eastwood's "Get Off My Lawn" movie.
Oh God, I don't. I think. Let's just say I have some opinions about Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
Yeah, and leave it at that. But again, it's like um, yeah, Wally was a really good movie in a year full of good movies, and also um, it was basically part of a very long success streak that Pixar had. I mean, a lot of their movies are still good, like but it's not as masterful as Wally. Um, but that being said, some of Pixar's man movies are better than some of the a lot of other movies that get put out.
Yeah, exactly. If even their man movies are probably better than most other animation studios' best work.
Yeah,
They're they're just a great they like just do great work and they always try to put story ahead of everything. I know that they kind of get into a position where they've had to do a lot of sequels, but the sequels have also kind of helped greenlight other projects that get made.
Right.
So,
yeah, yeah. And I don't really fault them for that. And the Cars movies are pretty cute. I mean, I
they
mean,
sell a lot of merchandise.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And they finally made an actual, road trip movie. Finally.
The weird thing about Cars is okay, so the first Toy Story comes out in 1995. So when Toy Story 3 comes out, that's enough time frame for people who were actually children when the first Toy Story came out or around the age of Andy or a little bit older. So it
Oh
makes
yeah.
sense what the story's going with, right? Cars 3 comes out 11 years after the first Cars. I don't think the little kids who saw Cars and loved it in 2006 are old enough wondering about their life's legacy and like what kind of impact is left on their life and their career and
God. I just remember seeing the first trailer for this, and my thought was, does Lightning McQueen die?
so that's just my weird tangent with Cars 3, but Cars 3 is actually probably the best Cars movie out of the 3.
Yeah, I
I have
could
a
get that.
confession. I have not seen one Cars movie.
Well, you can skip Cars 2 because it's ridiculous and silly.
Hey,
And for
actually,
some,
you got it. Bruce Campbell has a cameo as a Dodge Charger.
well, that'd be the only reason to watch it because it's basically Larry the Cable
Oh,
Guy show as a
oh,
spy.
it's
See, that's the reason
no,
why I haven't watched them because
no.
I'm
You
not
watch
like
it for all the carnage.
NASCAR little kids, and they gotta have Disney movies too.
Yeah, I know.
Well, He's not really in the third one that much, if he's in it at all.
Like I'm not a big fan. I don't even like listening to the guy. And I was like, okay, I could probably not watch these, so I don't have to hear him. But
Yeah, and really, the first Cars movie is basically Doc Hollywood.
Yep. That's true.
Yeah, let's be they weren't phoning it in, but they were phoning it in.
Yeah, that was the first time I was like, okay, every Pixar movie's not great.
Yeah, some are merely just good.
Because I think before Cars, they were all pretty much spot on, like really good animated films.
yeah, I will say I do probably. I mean, the Toy Story films are probably up there, like right under Wall-E. There's Ratatouille is probably that's probably a runner-up in second place for me is Ratatouille.
Ratatouille's great.
Mine is The Incredibles, really.
The first one?
The first one, yeah.
Oh, best Fantastic Four movie that's ever been made. The first Incredibles.
Yeah, you're right.
It's great.
And also, even though Brad Bird really has some issues to work out, remember, kids, superheroes are just plain better than you.
Yeah, he's got some anger issues, but he is a really, really good animated director, and I like all his movies.
Well, of course I'd be angry if I was Brad Bird. I'd be angry too, because Warner Brothers all but buried the Iron Giant.
Yep. Which is a beautiful film if you've never seen it.
It's probably one of the best movies that studio has made. The animation studio has made in a long, long time.
Oh yeah, we watched that movie pretty regular.
I was gonna say our kids did Wall-E and the Iron Giant as a double feature.
Oh, that's a great double feature. I mean, both have incredible impact. So do you guys know, like, basically where the core story of the Iron Giant comes from?
Oh yeah, it's the story goes like not the Iron Man, but I forget what the original title was.
But basically, because the Iron Giant, it turns out is like, well, what if a weapon knew it was a weapon but didn't want to be a weapon? Because Brad Bird's sister was killed in a crime involving a gun.
Well, dang, that I didn't know about.
Yeah, that's kind of like where the plot comes from.
Well, dang, I can get behind that. Let me. I'll just say that I can get behind that. So, anything more to say about Wall-E?
Watch it for Earth Day.
Yes, beautiful movie. I love it.
Another since we were talking Star Trek, another option we had for Earth Day was Star Trek 4: The Voyage Home, which can also be an Earth Day film. But we went with Wall-E to kind of change it up a little bit. But I think we've talked Star Trek 4 before.
The whales aren't safe yet. We've talked about it enough, but it should be well on its way to being resolved.
Oh, of course. And I'm glad we went Wall-E. But if you are in the trick mood and you want another film that is kind of the vein of Earth Day, you can also do. Yes, Fern Gully, Biodome. If you want to go the Pauly Shore.
Oh God, Pauly Shore.
I'm going to recommend one that was not a popular film when it came out, but if you guys haven't seen it, Jessica's interested in your answer when you do watch it, if you would do it or not, and it's called Downsizing.
Oh, I've heard the Matt Damon one.
We were gonna
Yes.
watch that here, actually probably last week, and we decided not to. But I think we're going to now. So
Yeah, I like it. It's actually a good movie, but for whatever reason, when it came out, it didn't do well, and it was not well received by critics when it came out.
okay, then yeah, we'll watch it. We'll give it a shot.
But it's a pretty cute movie.
Yeah. Um. Hmm. I let's see. Fern Gold. Well, honestly, for Earth Day, I can't think of any movies, but I could definitely think of a TV show. Captain Planet.
Oh
Yeah.
He's our hero.
Yep.
Planet
Yeah.
or Toxic Avenger.
Oh. Oh.
Why did they turn that into a children's cartoon?
Why not? They did it with RoboCop and Rambo.
That's true.
At that time did not have enough trauma yet, and they were like, they gotta be thick-skinned.
Oh God. Well, here. I mean, I was 7 when RoboCop first came out, and all the violence aside, I didn't have the critical thinking skills to realize that this was kind of a bash against corporate America. All I saw was, awesome robot superhero. Not superhero, super cop.
Yeah, robot man kicking ass. That's what I saw. And some
Shooting
cool,
Yep.
rapists in the dick.
I had the I had the RoboCop action figure that shot cats.
Yes, I remember those.
You rode in the
RoboCop and the
cat-
Ultra Police.
Yeah.
And even worse, it's like, I'm not sure if it was worse, but yeah, the sequels ended up being written by Frank Miller.
Right.
Yeah.
In that period when he was sane.
Shot in Dallas too.
Yes, because it was more futuristic looking than Detroit.
Which is also funny because Detroit also they have a RoboCop statue.
Yes, they do.
Dallas needs a RoboCop statue, damn it.
Don't give Dallas any more ideas.
Yeah, we have our own idiosyncrasies right now. We just had a Taylor Swift concert.
Yep, she
One of
was
my-
in town.
Yep, which meant I avoided Collins Street at all costs. That's the street where, Collins Street is where the Cowboy Stadium is. I refuse to refer to it as AT&T Stadium. It is either Cowboy Stadium or Jerry World. But yeah, the Taylor Swift concert was last night, and one of my kids ended up breaking her feet and went to the concert anyway.
Hey, they're gonna go see that T-Swift, man.
Yeah. Especially after that, crap with Ticketmaster.
Good.
Yeah.
Ugh, good for them, I guess. I mean, now I wouldn't say I wouldn't do that for anybody. I mean, if Tool came to town and I could afford it, I would crawl to a Tool concert.
There are plenty of other bands that I wouldn't mind paying some money for, and I think I eventually will. But DFW's music scene, I can tell you firsthand, it's getting up there.
The last concert I saw in DFW was Rob Zombie, and that was way back for the Educated Horses tour in like 2004, I think.
Yeah.
No,
Wow.
take that back. We drove up there for Star Trek concert.
What's that DFW?
I saw Star Trek in concert in
Probably
Dallas.
Dallas Symphony Orchestra. They do things sometimes where they play the score from the movie and they play the movie.
Yes, because they do Lord of the Rings. That's the one we missed, so we got to start.
Yeah, we did Star Trek. Star Trek was touring. They would show like clips from it and play the music, and it was gorgeous.
Yeah. Um, I'm also of course I'm a little bit involved in the music scene, and there are a lot of really good local bands, in the area too. So, actually, several of my friends play in them. For our tens of listeners who may end up in the DFW area and you hear of a performance of a band called Cherry Mantis, check them out. They are really good.
Nice.
Uh, and I'm not just saying this because all my college friends are in there.
um, any thoughts on next week?
What are our movies going to be for next week?
Well, you sent a long list of suggestions, Chris and Lindsay. So I say maybe just something of those combinations of something.
Yes, I'll take a look at the I'll take a look at that list a little bit later tonight after I get some dessert. But um, yeah, I guess this is going to be a to be announced kind of thing.
Yeah, we'll decide and chat, and I'll throw an announcement up. Cody, Saturday, you have something.
Yes, Saturday, Kevin Polly is joining me for the Jim Henson Frank Oz series to discuss Little Shop of Horrors, and then Sunday night, Samantha Grace will be talking to me Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Ooh,
Okay, I'll be working Saturday, but Sunday night I'd like to join in for Dirty Rotten Scoundrels because that's another just
I'll
great.
I want to join in for Little Shop of Horrors because I have seen the movie and I have seen it on stage.
Oh,
Nice.
good. So you could tell us the difference between the stage and film version. If you're free 10 a.m. Saturday,
Yeah,
I'll shoot you a link to talk with me and Kevin about the movie.
I'm definitely down for that, especially since I'm off Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I'm off Friday, so let me know if you want to talk. Do a little 20 to 30 minute DS9 discussion on that episode, on that two-parter.
Which one? Um, are we
The
talking? Are,
Homefront.
Homefront and Paradise Lost. Oh yeah,
That's
those are
front
my. Those are.
along. I was going to talk about the parallels between that and January 6th. Some of the things that's been going on here lately, but
Oh yeah, there are a lot of shows and some movies that now that January 6th has happened, they hit way differently. So yeah, I'd be down to talk with those. We'll talk. Well, we'll discuss a time later.
all right,
All right.
all
So
right, guys.
it looks like we're done.
Yeah,
So
All right.
thanks for
I don't know
coming.
about you, but I'm gonna go get some. There's some chocolate chip cookies that are calling my name right now. So
You
I've got
enjoy those.
peach
yes.
turtle. I'm gonna go put in the oven. So I'm behind. I'm with you on the dessert.
All right, all right. See everybody later.
All right,
Bye
guys.
bye.
Bye. Live
Bye
long and
bye.
prosper.
Yes.
Yes. Happy
First
Happy First
contact.
Contact Day.